welcome to Professor SNAB, where we aim to make A-level biology as simple as a cell. So today we're understanding what is meant by terms stem cell, pluripotency, and totipotency. We'll also be able to discuss the way society uses scientific knowledge to make decisions about the use of stem cells in medical therapies. So stem cells are unspecialized cells from which differentiated cells develop. The differentiated cells have specified functions that it specializes into depending on the body's needs. So the stem cells, they can be of three different types. So they can be pluripotent, totipotent, and multipotent. So pluripotent stem cells have the ability to differentiate into most cell types, not all, but most. And they are derived from the inner cell mass of a blastocyst. So a quick fact, a blastocyst is a ball of cells that forms early in the pregnancy, the first 5 to 6 days after fertilization. So totipotent stem cells, which is another type of stem cell, they can differentiate into all cell types. So these are the very early embryonic stem cells. And then finally, you have the multipotent stem cells, which can differentiate into some cell types, so they're more restricted in their range. And an example of this is adult stem cells, which are found in various tissues and organs, such as bone marrow and the umbilical cord stem cells. So stem cells' ability to differentiate into other specialized cell types makes it very promising for massive research opportunities in medical research and treatments. They can be used to treat conditions such as leukemia, to replace the cells killed in the bone marrow through bone marrow stem cell transplant. And there is research towards potential stem cell therapies such as spinal cord injuries to treat paralysis, for example, and various heart conditions as well. So the two sources of human stem cells that we have are the embryonic stem cells and the adult stem cells. So looking further into the embryonic stem cells, so they have huge potential for therapeutic treatments as they can differentiate into most cell types. However, there is strict regulation around its use in the UK. And embryonic stem cells are either totipotent or pluripotent, depending on when you collect them. So embryonic stem cells are totipotent if taken in the first 3 to 4 days after fertilization, and pluripotent if it's taken on day 5 onwards. So they are usually collected from the embryos left from IVF treatments. However, ethical issues do arise as these embryonic stem cells have the potential to grow into humans. So now we're looking at adult stem cells. So they can only produce a limited range of cell types, and they can be infinitely produced through mitosis. They are usually found in the bone marrow, the umbilical cord, and the brain, and they are beneficial for growth, cell replacement, and repairs. The use of these for possible research and treatments is less controversial as the donor can give consent. However, it is important that the stem cells donated by the donor actually match the patient, and if they do not, it is rejected, causing more harm potentially. However, there is the possibility of using the patient's own stem cells, so that can reduce the chance of rejection. So now we're looking at the use of stem cells in medicine. So the use of stem cells from embryos is controversial as the embryos have the potential to grow into a fetus. Adult stem cells are more ethical. However, the range of cells they can differentiate into is really limited, and this limits the diagnosis or conditions that can be treated. There is also the risk of stem cells being infected by viruses in labs, and that can be passed on to the patient, possibly causing harm. Hence, patients must have the guidance of official regulatory authorities and the scientific knowledge to help them make the best decision. So now we're looking at official regulatory bodies that exist, so they can work towards this by reviewing proposals for scientific research, licensing and monitoring research centers, providing guidelines and codes for practice, regulating developments for scientific research, and ensuring that all information provided is up to date. That's a snap today. Hope you found this video useful. This topic happens to be one of my favorite ones to study, so hope it's the same for you guys. If you have any questions though, let me know in the comments and I'll get back to them as soon as possible. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.